Hey guys, this video is on why the amount of money in your bank is not a very good safety cushion. So this was inspired. I met up with my mom this week. I can't remember if it was a phone call or if it was like we met in person. I can't remember exactly when. But basically the conversation went like, if we only had $1 million that could last us the next like 30 years, my father and I, or she said your father and I, so meaning my dad and her, would not be able to do that. And I think a lot of people nowadays, like, we put a lot of stock in like what we have and we kind of like try and protect it as much as possible rather than learning how to grow it and get the cash flow up to the point to where like it will carry you and kind of take you through and pay for whatever you need to. So I don't know exactly if you know my story, but when I started my business back in 2015, it was because my mom had like lost her job and she was like the primary breadwinner in the household. And the when she lost it, it was kind of tough because then I was like helping paying out like the bills. So I had like two households that I was like essentially paying the bills for, and it was a very tough time because in their accounts like in the beginning it wasn't needed, right, because they had savings. They had I think like $120,000 in the bank, but by the end of like I think it was about either a year or a year and a half, they only had $5,000 left in like cash, and like they had like some what was called retirement accounts and stuff, but they weren't quite old enough to the point to where they wanted to start taking out of that without like the penalties and stuff. So like they only had like five grand left because it was just so hard for her to kind of get another job. Not for lack of trying, right? It's just sometimes when you get to a certain point in your career, it's very common to kind of face like ageism and stuff like that. So I didn't know anything about that. I was a young guy. It's like, if someone would have told me back when I was in college, like, oh, ageism is a thing. It's like, no, you're just not trying. Like, you don't know anything when you're that young. But I was watching it firsthand where she would go, first interview, second interview, call back, and then oh we're going with someone internally, or oh we're going with someone else, or oh you didn't get the job, or oh we don't know if you're gonna be here for another like 10 years, and yeah it was really tough, and we kind of had that conversation the other day, and it was just like she's like, man, I'm so grateful that you set up your business and you like really have like I have like a lot of stuff in place so that like they're able to keep making money. I even showed them how to like sometimes you'll hear me talk about like this third tertiary business that I have, which is like basically like art. So they'll make the art and then I use some like the stuff we use for like LinkedIn and just local marketing to be able to go and like sell the sculpture. So essentially the sales process we created for them creates about 100K a year from like their art sales. And they don't really have to sell that many. They sell like probably like 25 sculptures a year, right? So next year me working on like the prices. Like right now the average sculpture is between like $4,000 and $5,000. So we can try and get that sculpture price up to like six to $8,000, right? So they'll sell 20, and they'll still make like six figures a year with that. Um, but it's like it's cool because like once you have the skill sets to build a business, you can build as many different types of businesses you want. Oftentimes when I work with people inside of our mentorship program, like the accounting and bookkeeping business is more of like the means to the end. The bookkeeping business gives you that recurring revenue, right? So it's like you have the 5,000, the 10,000, the $15,000 every single month that's coming in. And it's not just about the money, right? It's not like no one wants to just have like the money, just like have $1 billion in your bank account, right? It's like it's what can I do with that money? How can I pay it forward? How can I spend more time with my family? How can I kind of like live? Like that's the idea of the money. But we just need enough to be coming in so we can actually do whatever we want. Yeah, because that's funny. It's like when I didn't have any money, all I was focused on was making more money. But then once I had the money, all I was focused on was like, how do I have like a better life? And that's kind of the point that I want to get you guys to. And it's like I know a lot of you guys like you maybe watch this, you're making good money. Maybe you're making like 60 to 140 in corporate America. 60K to 140K a year, and it's like maybe things are good, but that if you were to start your business and like do it cold turkey, like you quit your job, things would be like kind of in a panic mode. I actually don't consider that as safe and comfortable as what I think a lot of people do. Like a lot of people like, and if you're watching this, it's probably not you, but this is what I've noticed a lot of like, because I've run my mentorship program since like 2018, like late 2018, early 2019, and the amount of people where it's like they're just like one job loss away from being in the hole, right? Or they got the raises, they're at like 135, not including bonuses, and their expenses are so close to like their income that's like they only maybe save like 2 grand, 3 grand a month extra on top of their bills. And that not to say it's bad, right? It's good that they're able to save, but it's really only like one job loss, one recession, one thing away from like everything kind of like getting eaten up, and like now you're in scramble mode. So it's like while you still have the time, while you still have the space, like it's better to get things started now, so you don't have to be in scramble mode later, right? It's like while you have the time, while you have the energy, while you have the space, while you have the job, right? And I like starting a business when you have a job. Like I know that might sound weird. It's like, but Bryce, I won't have enough time if I'm working a job and have a family. It's like I understand, but if you can figure out how to grow a business to like 5 to 6 grand per month while still having your job, imagine like what happens once you're able to leave that job. Now you have so much more time and you're effective, and then you don't even have to spend 40 hours a week doing like the business. You can spend like 25, 30 hours a week. Now you have an extra 10 hours a week to do whatever you want, right? So maybe that's like pull the kids out of school a couple more days a year to go on vacation. Maybe it's maybe you can actually go and like spend time with your kids like sporting events. Maybe your kid has like karate or martial arts or something, like you want to go to their travel tournaments, or they play travel baseball, right? I mean, traveling sports is not cheap. Right? So it's like really having that ability to control the course of your life and not really rely on savings, right? The goal that I always set for people, and this is like an internal goal. Some people's goals are a little bit larger, some people's goals are a little bit smaller, it just depends. But the average that I'm looking for the students to do is like to add about, I want them to save about $100,000 per year on top of their bills. So that way, after about 3.5, 4 years, you're gonna have about 450 to 500K inside the bank, right? In addition to what you already have, right? But when you have that 450K in the bank, what that allows you to do is be able to go and invest your money. If you would have invested your money, let's just say in the S&P 500 this year, you would have gotten, let's say that you did about, what is that? It was, let's say just for simple math, $1 million in the bank, right? You would have done about $357,000 just this year, just from leaving inside the bank, right? So if you had 500K, you probably would. What's 350 divided by two? What is that? Is that like 160 something? You'd have made an extra $160,000 this year just from leaving it inside of the S&P 500, which is basically the same as leaving like a bank account, because you just sell those shares whenever you want. And it's like, once you can do that, like once you can make like 50K a year is like really 50K a year from passive investments, that's when things change, because you're no longer just making, let's say you're at 15 grand a month in your business, right? If you make about, was it $50,000 per year, you're adding almost $5,000 per month to whatever your business is making. So now you're doing 15 grand a month in your business, but now you have this $5,000 a month being generated by passive income. Okay, so now you're actually making 20K per month, right? And it's like, and then what the cool new game is, like after 10 years, you'll probably have an extra $1 million in the bank. And then from there, let's say that you're doing 20% a year, you're making $200,000 per year. You don't have to do the business anymore. You could like maybe take on like maybe one client, two clients, be at like 5 grand a month, just so you have like the new income coming in. But then you'll be making 250 or $260,000 a year just like from a couple hours of work per week. And like I know like 10 years sounds like a long time. Some of you guys might not be wanting to work for 10 years, but I'm just saying, just in case you are, like maybe you're in your mid 30s, or you're like maybe late 40s, where you have another like 10, 15, maybe even 20 years worth of working that you're going to be doing. It's like you might as well get ahead of this now so that you can build this business so that you are able to have that life that you want. I kind of feel bad in a lot of cases, because sometimes people come to me for the mentorship program, they'll be like in their like late 50s, and it's like, man, if they would have had this opportunity back when they were younger, like this is not like this opportunity that's like 30, 40 years old. Like this only really happened in the last like probably 15, really 10 to 15 years, because back when I was first getting started, like in 2015, like it was a thing to have virtual bookkeeping, but it wasn't like a thing. Like now it's a thing. Like now, like people know about it. It's very commonplace. But like back then it wasn't, right? So like, and that was 10 years ago, right? So some of these guys were like maybe they thought about starting a tax business back in like the 2000s, but they just didn't have like the marketing strategies or even like the ability to even like reach a large audience. Like we have that nowadays, right? So it's like our duty to really take advantage of those like channels that we have to be able to go and build a business so that we can like really do the stuff that maybe our parents weren't able to do. Like I know, for example, my mom, like she started a business back in early 2000s, like a tax business, right? But it's like, all she had was like postcards, and like no one knows how many postcards you have to send to go get clients. And then like there wasn't like Facebook advertising. There wasn't like you couldn't just send out friend requests on Facebook or post a video and then millions of people can potentially find it. There wasn't that thing, right? So it was so much harder for her to be able to do it, right? And plus like there was no virtual bookkeeping. Everything was in office. So it's like, while we have this opportunity here that's in front of us, we might as well put it to the best use, right? Because like that's what maybe your parents sacrificed for. Your parents, I don't know your relationship with your parents, right? Maybe you didn't have parents, maybe I don't know, but assuming you did, right, and they did everything they could to kind of help put you in a better position than what they were, right? You might as well take advantage of it and use it, right? Same thing you're doing with your children, right? You're trying to make sure that they have the right values, they have the right systems, the right support in place so that, they can accomplish whatever goal they want to do. So, all to say is like, yeah, $1 million static in the bank is not going to be enough to kind of save you. You need to make sure that you have some sort of cash flow generating vehicle that can keep making money and keep getting like more and more and more. Because once you have that, that's when life really does become a lot easier. Because, inflation is eating all this stuff up. Like inflation just like is just coming for your money, right? And like I think what was the inflation rate? It's like between like 3 to like 5%. So if you're not getting at least 10% on your money, it's just sitting inside the bank. It's losing 3% every single year. So it's just one of those things. And plus with inflation, man, like this stuff is getting more and more expensive. And it's like it's funny because like I think I'm kind of a person where it's like so I know approximately how much I'm making, but I don't like check or like care that much, if that makes sense. Like I have different discretionary budgets based on like what I want to do. So like if I just want to have like a random grocery bill, because I like going to the grocery store, and like almost every time you go to the grocery store, you pick up like one or two things. Like maybe you pick up like a naked smoothie, right? Or you pick up like a drink mix. It's like $3, $5, right? So I approximate out about $12,000 per year just for that. So anytime I want to go to the grocery store, if it's like within reason, I just like can buy something, right? On top of like your grocery shopping and stuff as well. But it's like you feel it going up, but it's like, and again, this is different for every person. Like if you don't have a lot of like disposable income, yeah, you're gonna be checking a lot more. For me, it's kind of weird because it's just like it was a mixture of I never really checked certain prices because I just didn't care. I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, maybe get upset with the store or like go to a different store. It's like, no, I'm already here. I might as well just buy it. I know it's not the best thing, but it's like when you have cash flow, and when you have like businesses that are shooting off cash, you don't make decisions based solely on money. Okay, I'll give an example. I do not like going to Target. Where I live in Michigan, so I don't know if it's a national or regional store, but I do not like Target. It's like this like giant store, but it's all like brown. It's like a dingy brown. They've updated a lot of them, so it's not quite as bad. But like I used to hate that, and I would not care if something is 3x cheaper than what it was like at Walmart or like at a different store, right? Or Publix if you're in Florida. I would not care, right? Because I don't like being there. And it's just like when you have the ability to like have money, you can choose where you want to go and like, okay, something's a little more expensive here, whatever, dude, who cares? But it wasn't until recently I started looking at things like, I don't think that used to be that expensive. Like, there's no way that is that price. Like, what happened? I'm like, I don't think inflation hit us that hard. So, because you have the second thing on top of inflation, now it's the businesses are actually raising their prices, right? So it's like they really utilize COVID to kind of do like the supply chain thing, saying like, oh, it's hard to get stuff in the stores, so we don't have quite as much quantity in the store, so we're gonna raise our prices. And then so the fallacy is like, okay, so wait, so you're raising your prices now, but like, what happens once you do get your supply chain fixed? Are you gonna lower the prices? Well, no, we probably won't lower the price. You know what I mean? So it's like, a lot of these bigger companies learned how to utilize these environments where people are struggling to increase like how much they're charging and stuff like that. It's like, argument can be made that it's like it's good for business, but it's like bad for humans, if that makes sense. I mean, because it's like, man, like, I don't think anyone kind of like goes and like grows up like thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have to work for my entire life, and like I have to keep working harder and harder, and like keep trying to climb this ladder just to be able to afford like basic stuff. And like it's not about, it's hard to explain, right? Because like you could have a lot of money but be frugal. My parents were super frugal when they were growing up, well, when I was growing up, and it was like they had the money to pay for like almost everything they did, but we just did it because we were like so concerned about, okay, that we can get it cheaper here, I can get it cheaper there. Let's go on this vacation because like it's way cheaper than this vacation, and it's just like, we made so many money based decisions when I was younger, and I don't know exactly to describe it. It's not that it developed a sense of lack, but I don't know how to describe it exactly. And like it wasn't like a feeling of lack. It wasn't, so it was a very unlogical just feeling that I carried with me for like the next like probably like 10, 15 years of just like this kind of like, not, it wasn't lack, but it was just like fear of things running out or not having enough, right? I guess when you hear like the phrase like, oh, we can't afford this, or oh, we can't afford that, it's just like you kind of like develop that into your personality, which is like, like that's why any young people I speak to, I never talk about like affordability and stuff like that. It's always like, how can we figure out a way to kind of like make it work? Can you go and like save some things? Like, could you go sell some things? Can you like, what could you do to kind of make sure that if you don't have the money today, we can make sure we have the money tomorrow and the next day and the next day to be able to do it, right? Excuse me, man, hiccups. No, I have hiccups. Crazy, but yeah, just and like it wasn't until recently, probably about a year and a half ago, what right around the time like when I started like shooting these YouTube videos, that's really like the part to where it's like money stopped being like the main reason why I make like decisions based off of, because I hit a certain financial milestone, which just kind of like was like, okay, we can take a breath. When it was like, okay, you're almost to the point to where it's like you have more money in the bank than like what you theoretically can spend if you're reasonable. Like I'm not. Yes, I have a Mercedes. Yes, I bought my mom BMW, but it's like I don't have a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like as long as I stay within reason, the money's good. If I go and buy like a Ferrari, which is like $400,000, okay, we might say something a little bit different, right? But as long as I stay like within the certain like spending bracket that I'm in now, it's like the money's gonna last for a very, very, very long time because of like we talked about earlier, when you have the investments that are shooting off the cash, right? I think I want to do an investment video one day, but I'm not like a financial advisor, so I don't want to like give like an investment thing. Someone like tries to like copy the investments I have, and then like they like lose a bunch of money like that. That's not something I want to do. That's why I don't like show a lot of that stuff, right? Like I don't really talk that much about like content, or a lot of the stuff that I really want to talk about. I don't, because I'm trying to make a really good video for you to like make sure it's something actionable you can do. Um, but the main thing is like, you know, build a business while you have the time. Like, whether money's tight for you right now, whether like you have the income, you're just trying to look and like switch careers. Like, if you have any ability to do it, you really owe it to yourself, your parents, and your children, and your children's children to really start doing the stuff you need to do now to put yourself in that best position so that they don't have to go through the same struggles that you did. And like the same struggles does not mean that they have to be like like monetary struggles. It's just all the struggles that you went through. Like, let's say that maybe you were like bullied when you were in school. Okay, so why don't you go and grow your business and put some of the proceeds towards them going to like a school where the environment's a lot better, the environment's a lot nicer. You can set them up with connections with other people that have a lot of income as well, right? A lot of different things you can do, but it just starts with the choice, starts with the decision to move forward and to grow a business. Okay, so hopefully you learn something new about this video. Hopefully it kind of gives you a different perspective on just life. That's really what I try to do is just like give you guys different perspectives and like the vehicles and the tools to be able to go and grow, and really do whatever you want in your life. So if you want some help growing a business like a bookkeeping or accounting business, and you feel that if you had someone who was a little bit further ahead than what you were, could be helpful, go ahead and click the link inside the description. I'll help you avoid all the mistakes that most people make, help you go and reach your goals. Okay, click the link. I'll talk to you on the call. I will see if I can help you inside of our program, and we can outline like what that plan looks like together. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day.